I would like to personally thank Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for paving the path to making sure this happened. Oh, and every fucking APAC politician who wants to yap about Hamas as we're watching children being starved on live stream.
At this point, I really think some of you have a mental disorder, but I'm also realizing that for a lot of you, maybe you don't realize it, maybe some of you do, that your entire purpose is to uphold a Trump administration. I keep thinking about this because a lot of y'all want to focus on the fact that Israel gets money from the United States via, like, direct compensation, right? Via, bills and things of that nature. And a lot of y'all are under the belief system that somehow this is what matters most. It doesn't. Because what kind of annoys me is the fact that so many of these people have no fundamental understanding of what Bibi actually wanted. He didn't give a fuck about that money. He didn't need the money. Y'all think somehow that if we stop giving the money, that Israel's going to collapse. Israel's not going to collapse if we stop giving the money. That's not what Bibi wanted. Bibi didn't give a fuck about the money. And the reason why is because at this point in 2026, Israel's economy, like many of our economies, are deeply intertwined with so many other nations. It's not about the money. They're already interconnected. The money was going to come some way, shape, or form. Always. Whether we stop giving the money or not. What Bibi needed was an American president that was going to help him accomplish the things he needed to accomplish. And not just any American president. They needed a particular type of American president bolstered by a particular type of American movement.
The Secretary of Defense has a Jerusalem cross tattooed on his chest and Deus Vult on his bicep. That's Latin for God wills it. It was the rallying cry of the First Crusade in 1095. It was displayed on flags at Charlottesville and again on January 6th at the Capitol. He wrote a book in 2020 called American Crusade. In it, he wrote, "Our American crusade is not about literal swords, and our fight is not with guns, yet." The last word of the book is Deus Vult. That man now runs the United States military during an active war in Iran. There's a strain of Christian theology called end times theology. Tens of millions of American evangelicals believe a version of it. The short version, for your reference, for Jesus to return, a specific sequence of events must happen in the Middle East. A Jewish state must exist. A third temple must be built on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Then a final conflict begins. In 2018, Pete Hegseth said at a conference in Jerusalem, "There's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible." He was describing his theology. He now has a defense budget. Christians United for Israel, founded by Pastor John Hagee, has more than 10 million members. By membership, it is the largest pro-Israel organization in the United States, larger than AIPAC. On March 1st, the day after strikes on Iran began, Hagee told his congregation, prophetically, we're right on cue.
Bibi needed these people. And Bibi needed an American government where these people had control. That's what Bibi needed. He didn't need American money. They don't. We can stop giving the money. Israel's going to keep existing in spite of it. I don't know what delusional thinking y'all have in y'all head, but the money was never what Bibi wanted. He wanted this because Bibi doesn't believe none of this, by the way. He does not believe any of this because he's Jewish. Bibi's focus is to eliminate certain elements in the Islamic world, or AKA the Middle East as we call it, off the map, because he views certain individuals, particularly Iran, because Iran has a tendency to fund a lot of terrorist organizations. He wants to get rid of them because they fund people like Hamas. Hamas is in control of Palestine. The Palestinians voted for this, by the way, because y'all need to really understand how complicated things are over there. I can't go with the narrative, well, the Jews showed up and therefore let's get rid of the Jews. I can't do that with y'all. I understand the colonialism of it all and the role that Britain played and all this other stuff, but there's a lot of history, economics, and religiosity all intertwined in how all of these people are dealing with each other. That plays a part in a lot of mentality over there, which is why I genuinely believe all of the Abrahamic religions are evil, but that's another point for another day. The point is, Bibi needed these people. He doesn't want to get rid of all of the Arab nations because, again, they're financially intertwined with Israel, and they look at Israel as sort of a buffer when it comes to dealing with a lot of the terrorism that they themselves are also victim of. So not every Islamic state over there, Islamic nation, hates Israel. They don't. They really don't. There's this weird thing where they try to, they understand that there's an element of their population that takes issue. So they kind of they're trying to play it one way, but behind the scenes, like I said, it's all money to them. They don't care. And for a lot of them, the terrorists and the terrorism, like Hamas, Hezbollah, and a lot of it's funded by Iran, the terrorism is more of a threat to their economic security and their future prosperity than anything Israel's ever going to do, even if they don't particularly like Israel, right? So for them, Israel is perfectly fine to be exactly where they are. They don't really give a fuck about it. So Israel, under the guide of Bibi Netanyahu, because Bibi is really the foundation of all of this. Bibi just want to get rid of the terrorists, and that's why he's going after certain types of countries. He's not attacking willy-nilly everybody. He's going after Iran, Palestine, and Lebanon, because those are the three where the terrorists and the terrorism money tends to, that's where most of that goes. As you can see, Iran has been officially designated as a state sponsor of terrorism by the United States Department of State since 1984. That's how long this has been going on, 40 odd years. So this is nothing new. That's why Bibi wanted Trump. You don't get to blame Joe Biden, Kamala Harris for any of this shit, because none of this would have happened under their watch, because the requisite people would not be in charge of the U.S. Department of Defense, i.e. the military, in order to make a lot of this happen. Bibi needs an American military run by these people to help him carry out the offensive that he wants to do. Israel would be fine defending itself against all of these Islamic states because they've done it in the past, and they've done it in the past with less money. This is why y'all don't seem to understand the money isn't the issue. Israel is perfectly capable of defending itself without U.S. military intervention and U.S. military aid. The U.S. military aid doesn't fucking matter. They've successfully defended themselves against a lot of these Islamic countries. When they were first established, multiple countries in that region attacked them and they all lost, or there was a stalemate. The point is, Israel can successfully defend itself quite easily. What they can't do, because they don't have the structure and the size, is go on the offense. And that's why Bibi wanted Trump. And y'all's chronic desire to not understand what's really happening on the ground over there blows my mind. Y'all have such a simplistic understanding of that entire region. And I'm not an expert. I've just been a person who's been reading and listening to shit over the years, and even I've been able to piece this together. I knew exactly why Bibi wanted Trump in office. That's why I didn't vote for Donald Trump. That's why I voted, because I did not want Bibi to get what he wanted. But you guys did. You wanted Bibi to get this. Because if you didn't want him to get this, you would have had a more nuanced understanding of that region instead of falling for whatever propaganda that they put up here. Because I don't know if y'all have noticed, they have made note of this over on Twitter, but remember all of the campus protests? Remember that was so active during the Biden administration? Rafah doesn't exist anymore. Like, Rafah is rubble. Where are the campus protests? They don't exist. There are active bombs dropping in that region right now. Where are the campus protests? They do not fucking exist. And I think y'all need to come to the understanding that a lot of these people who were on those college campuses getting you riled up in this way, yeah, these were voter suppression tactics, idiots. And a lot of you fell for it. I'm not saying that if you want to be a defender and supporter of Palestine, I don't care. But I need you to understand what happened to you. There was a concentrated effort by a certain group of people to ensure that a portion of the population, just enough, did not vote and did not participate, and were so disillusioned that it allowed a Trump presidency to take place. Getting rid of Joe Biden as the nominee. The concentration on the age of the candidate, despite the fact that both candidates were old as shit. Even when the nominee dropped out and a new nominee came, the tactics had to switch, and y'all had to well, why won't she disavow Joe Biden and da-da-da-da. There was a concentrated effort by a variety of people throughout so many portions of this government to disillusion the American population so that Donald Trump would get back in office, because this was always what they wanted. You're not fighting for anything, by the way. All of your belief systems were implanted in you by people who are now gone. But either way, that's what the fuck happened, and that's why we're here. So this hyper focus on Joe Biden and what they did or didn't do, that doesn't matter. And if you genuinely cared about the Palestinian people, you would have never, ever participated in anything that would have engaged in any type of voter suppression. The uncommitted movement was voter suppression. Y'all don't want to acknowledge that, and y'all made that man mayor of New York. But y'all don't want to acknowledge what's really been happening to y'all. They are still fucking with y'all. And some of y'all are going to keep falling for it because you don't really realize what happened. And remember, she said that these people are the largest pro-Israel group in the United States. But no one's talking about them. What is the left talking about? Because many of them are useful idiots. Some of them are doing this on purpose, by the way. But what are they talking about? AIPAC, 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 AIPAC. And it fits a lot of that white nationalist anti-Semitic rhetoric. Because, Jewish money controls the world, yada, yada, whatever BS, right? They want you all to focus on AIPAC, but completely ignore these people. Y'all need to lock the fuck in.